Okay, cool. So welcome to the Close podcast. This is our mentor podcast initiative that is focused on having conversations with founders, investors, and leaders on how they've been able to close different opportunities in their careers or their business. And in this edition, we're talking to Sirisha Bharat, which I'm super excited to be talking to. Sirisha is a leading figure in the world of tech entrepreneurship, reshaping the African tech scene and now making waves globally. With a strong commitment to innovation and social change, she has left an indelible mark on the industry. She's heads up two groundbreaking startups called Lawyered Up as well as Boardroom App. Sirisha is at the forefront of developing solutions that transcend borders. Lawyered Up is powered by AI, not only supports African SMEs, but also fosters economic growth and collaboration. Meanwhile, as CEO of Boardroom App, she's revolutionizing professional networking and online dating, utilizing platforms like LinkedIn to elevate user experiences. And for fun fact, if you're like, oh, can I meet somebody that's on LinkedIn so I know the career's legit in the UK? Yes, you can, because Boardroom has officially launched in the UK. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. And fun fact, we're both from South Africa, which is super cool because I was like, anything is possible. Resilience, right? So I want to start with your journey, right? Because I think different people end up being entrepreneurs in different ways. And so I'm curious about what got you here. Like, at what point in your life did you know entrepreneurship was for you? And what was the thing that like pivoted you into the space?
Okay, so I was 18 years old when I started my first business. I don't come from a rich family, so I knew that I wanted to create an impact, one, and I wanted more for myself, and I wanted to be able to help my family as well. So first business at 18, and did my first degree, did a second degree, and left work after 2 years. And I was like, well, I'm going to go into full-time entrepreneurship. And I was 22 years old when I fully went into it. And 8 years later, I have two tech startups, and it's been exciting.
Very
hard.
Hard and exciting. What was the first entrepreneurship venture you did?
I still have it, which I don't really speak about much. It's a marketing company, but it's a more AI-driven marketing company now. So we do app development, websites, social media, digital marketing. And that assisted me in funding the first startup being Lawyered Up and part of the second one being Boardroom.
That's pretty cool. I don't know if anyone in the room thinks about being an entrepreneur, right? But I know for a lot of people, the idea of jumping from a secure job into the abyss of entrepreneurship is very anxiety-inducing. What was the big motivation for you? And then two, I think within your family support system, what did you have in place that allowed you to make that jump?
I had nothing in place besides a car, which I sold to put money into the business. But why did I do it? I wanted to make an impact. There was no way that I was going to go to a corporate job and be boxed into what they thought was the right way of doing things when there's multiple ways of doing one thing. And I didn't feel like I was being acknowledged. And, I would go to work in a three-piece suit, but I was quite junior. And I would get laughed at, people saying, oh, she thinks she's the CEO. And 8 years later, I have those same people actually asking me for a job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well,
who's the CEO now?
Anyways. So I think my inspiration just came from, impact driven. And every business needs to have purpose and an impact. That's what I believe, not just profit. And that's what I wanted to bring into inspiring other women that I'm surrounded by and continuing that journey myself and impacting as I go.
And what is your definition of impact? 'Cause I think sometimes people hear the word impact, but it sometimes feels like something in the ether that you can't really put your finger on, right? So when you talk about impact, what does that look like for you?
How do you make a difference with anything that you do? Whether it be a profitable company or non-profit company, how are you impacting and who are you impacting? So there's different types of impact, and mine is more social impact, which is gender-based violence being one of them. So attorneys on Lawyered Up's platform has to give back 3 hours per week to GBV, and that's because I was abused as a kid. And so was my mom for 18 years. And I think just seeing that growing up, I knew that I wanted to make a difference, not just in Africa, globally, but in African women's lives. And statistically, it is more women than men that go through it. And unfortunately, it was something that I did too. So I wanted to create an impact there. And second to that, how do I create an impact to the GDP of the country? And that was by democratizing access to legal for small to medium businesses as well as startups within the African continent. And we've expanded into Kenya, Botswana, Nigeria, South Africa. And to be able to create job opportunities has been incredible, as well as access to the justice system using technology to do so.
Yeah. So let's unpack. So that's the business lawyered up, right? So you're looking at the way traditional legal system works, right? And how people have access to lawyers. And you go, something's not right here. What was the initial problem you were trying to solve, and how has technology been the enabler for that?
So I find things like document generation should be something that's simple, right? But attorneys are charging hectic amounts, like a lot of money for something that could be simple and something that's really needed to expand your business. So let's look at like an NDA or a shareholders agreement or an employment contract. And we look at these things as daunting. We're like, I can't afford to do that now. You know, and that applies for accounting as well. So it's been accounting and legal that's been daunting to entrepreneurs. And if we look at how we can bring technology into that, it's using generative AI and natural language processing. So we can automate and auto-populate information into documents, taking away the time that the attorney has to spend on things and the turnaround for you as an entrepreneur. And I think especially being within the tech space, things are very fast-paced. Yeah. So how are you able to get out things in a quick manner, but closest to what it needs to be with the least amount of money? So we're not saying that we can automate the entire process from start to end as yet, but we do still have human contact in the process and verifying that everything on that document is also correct in the manner that it needs to be. And that's just training an AI model to do so. But it's come with so many pivots and so many challenges over the last 4 years. But it's good to see it materialize into where it is now.
What has been one of your biggest learnings in the past 4 years with Lawyer Lab?
Failure is crucial, and pivoting is so important, and we shouldn't see it in that failure light. Finding product market fit is so important. You're not building the app for you. You're not building the platform, the business for you. It's for the people. It's for individuals to buy into that. And if you're not taking the feedback that you're getting from individuals and finding product market fit and just trying to throw things against the wall and sees what sticks, it's going to fail. For me, it kept failing. And I was like, what are you going to do? You've sold a car. You've drawn out all your savings. Your dad just passed away. What are you going to do? And I had to, keep changing and looking at what was needed in the economic climate that I was in. And I mean, as we know, coming from the African continent, we have major issues like water and sanitation or hunger. And now I'm like, let's use technology to democratize access. And people didn't see it. But as time went, they're seeing how empowering entrepreneurs allows for job opportunities as well. So if you can create a platform that has access to legal, essentially you're assisting your GDP because more entrepreneurs have access to be compliant, to get funding, to get individuals to work for them and create jobs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. And I like the fact that you've built in things that you care about in that, right? So when we talk about alternative business models, I think sometimes people go, oh, I want to solve for X, but there's no direct income line for addressing gender-based violence, right? So just even going, here's a service that we're going to provide because people do need legal services. And then we're going to ask all the lawyers on our platform to give up pro bono time so that they can address GBV cases. I think it's quite a clever way of looking at how do we solve, create impact, but also ensure that we're sustainable in the work that you do. So I really commend you for that. I want to talk Boardroom App. So tell us a little bit about what Boardroom App is, how it works, and, was this inspired by, I'm looking for a man in finance?
Okay, so the second startup is called Boardroom. It is a dating app for professionals. So it's bringing safety and I don't know how to say it in the most simple terms. It's basically safety and quality to the online dating experience. There's multiple dating apps that exist, and people are like, why another dating app? Why another dating app? Because there isn't one that's directed to professionals. And given me, I've been single for 2.5 years because I have businesses. I don't go out, shrinking social circles. If I am going to go out, I'm not necessarily going out with the intention of finding a man. I'm going out to have fun with my friends.
Yeah.
And if a man comes along, which 11 out of 10, they don't ever approach me, where am I going to find someone?
Yeah.
I'm always in an office space or on my phone or on my laptop, so where was I going to find someone? And my co-founder, Wasani, was single at that time, just went through a breakup. And we had just met to catch up. And we actually met at an event like this. And he was following the journey. And he was like, he had this idea, what did I think about it? And would it be something that I wanted to be a part of? And I was like, yes. And I would always joke around and say, well, if I'm going to be on a dating app, they need to show me how much they earn. That was a joke.
Fair joke.
And I wanted to date above me or the same, because I'm working really hard. So I'm not even shy to say it. I didn't want to date below me. Where do you find that? Yes, these dating apps have quantity of people, but do they have quality of people? Dating fatigue, you're on these different dating apps and you get tired of this gamified process of like continuously swiping, but not really finding the quality of individual that you're looking for. And just looking at shrinking social circles, there was no better time than now to start something like Boardroom, which verifies against LinkedIn. It also only allows you to speak to 3 people at a time. So that feature is called exclusivity. If you're a professional, do you have time to speak to more than 3 people? Because personally, I don't.
Yeah.
So
you're being intentional.
Be intentional about being on the app. That is long-term. That is for professionals. We also have introduced seniority. So based on your seniority, you're matched with individuals. And as superficial as that sounds, I think a lot of us are actually just looking for that without wanting to say it as much. And we're match people based on that. So are you looking for CEOs? Are you looking for directors? Are you looking for individuals that are managers? So people can put that as their seniority. Should you not want to put it, that's also fine. We've given it as an option. So it's been exciting.
So interesting. What's the feedback like?
More females are really liking seniority. 51% of females on the platform currently. We have 35,000 downloads. So that's been great. It's only been 7 months. We've reached about $10,000 in revenue, which has been great for a startup that has not been funded. So we're fully bootstrapping. And it's just incredible to see a team of 3 people from the African continent being able to expand globally and have the reach that we do right now. So exciting, scary. The little girl in me is still like, what is happening? It's all happening very quickly. But it's an exciting journey ahead of us.
I like that. My thing when I think about Boardroom app is like, when you're like seriously dating, you're like, I want to meet someone, but can he actually do something about it? It's like, okay, sure, I'll meet you, but if my goal is to like be married in a year, like, can you do something about it? And it's like, yeah, he can. Like, he has a career and it's vetted, and that's fantastic. I want to talk about launching, so being able to close in the aspect of launching a new product and then launching a new product in a new market. What does that take and what does that process look like? Because I think for people who've never had to build anything, it's almost like it's there. And it's like, no, there's a lot of steps to get there. And even once it's there, we're actually still building in live time behind the scenes to ensure that the product is consistently responsive to the market. So what does the launching process look like?
So when we had launched, it was quite basic. We had basic features of being able to download the app on iOS and Android, sign up with LinkedIn. So your LinkedIn had to be 90 days old with 100 connections, manually verifying profiles. So my CTO would sit every day and manually verify these profiles against LinkedIn. And through that, we were asking for feedback, and people were like, They love that it's associated to LinkedIn, but they might not want to show where they work initially. So it is a dating app, and sometimes people still find that there's stigma around it. I don't understand why, because I mean, if you can DM someone on LinkedIn or Instagram, what's a dating app any different, right? In my mind. So we had to take that constructive feedback on just one aspect of it, for example, now, and say, okay, well, you can hide where you work and only show it once you've matched with someone. So you get to show profile confidentiality and profile information based on what you want to show. And that allowed us to have more users. They're more comfortable with putting their LinkedIn, because we would keep getting messages, I don't want to show where I work, I don't want to show it. And we try to understand why that was the case. So that was the one aspect of it. And the reason I touch on that is because user feedback and product market fit has brought us to where we are today. Every feature that we've introduced was something that we had to get feedback on. And if it wasn't appreciated or accepted, it wasn't a feature that we would then take forward. So we had to continuously test out what was working and what wasn't to get us to this point. Based on research, 45% of individuals in the UK are finding love online. With shrinking social circles and people having multiple jobs or working late hours, they're resorting to dating apps. So that's why we've chosen the UK market. Second to that, in 2035, 70% of individuals are going to be finding partners online. So how do we tap into a market early and have people adopt and adapt a new app? Because why another dating app has been often asked. So soft launching, understanding what people need and want, and how do we take that to the next level. So we created a waiting list as well. You don't want to also just go into a market and it be crickets and quiet, right? It is a dating app. It needs to be interactive. So that's been quite difficult, being able to get individuals to know about us. Word of mouth is so important when it comes to a service, a platform like a dating app as well. That people need to be seeing results, possible matches, dates, for them to be like, oh yes, it's working, you know. So introducing affiliate programs, partnerships, different channels of marketing. So all of that just comes with a lot of research and finding that product market fit. I sing by product market fit. It's Bible.
Critical. It's absolutely critical. And I think just listening to you is also understanding the multitude of things that are happening behind the scenes when you are starting something. Because oftentimes I think as an entrepreneur, you go like, I'm going to launch this thing. It's amazing. I've been working on it in the dark. And then you put it out in the market and you're hoping that there's going to be this resounding feedback. And people don't judge startups by the fact that they're startups. You know, so people kind of go like, big corporate X can easily respond, why can't you, right? And so there's no necessarily grace sometimes to go like, oh, they are teething, let's support through the process. And so I often find what you're having to actually deal with in real time is very different to what the market is willing to give you grace for. So everything that you're saying now is going, you do have to curate the experience. You do have to curate the buzz. You do have to create the hype that makes people want to be part of this by creating a waiting list. You do have to make sure that there are connections that people can go like, oh, once I got on there were matches and this actually does work. That all of those things are not, oh, the app is amazing and it works. They are intentional, thought out, strategic moves that you build into your business to make sure
or like, why was I not accepted? I have a LinkedIn. Why did you not accept? And we're like, it tells you in an email why you were not accepted. Your profile was blurry, you know, your photos were blurry. You didn't fill in everything. So we're very intentional as well on who we accepting on the app. And because it is quite a manual process, it's less about the quantity of people, more about the quality. Because once we get the quality right, we're able to create critical mass in any region that we move into. So right now, focus is London and South Africa, not the whole of London though, Canary Wharf and London Central. Why are we being so specific? It's because of the corporations that exist within those locations. So it's all well and good and you want to be like, oh, I want to be in Singapore and in China and in Dubai, and you can't get it right like that. Get a market, one market right, and word of mouth will get you into different and multiple markets. So it's been toying with different places and doing the research and getting that feedback. And it's been hard.
Yep.
It's been hard.
Let's talk about that hardness, right? Because on social media, people go like, oh, they launched a business. It looks fantastic. And there's 25,000 downloads and they're doing so well. What are some of the things that you are experiencing in the background as a founder that you're constantly having to readjust your resilience so you can continue on the journey?
Oh, there's so many. I feel like I could write a book on all of the.
There'll be a book one day.
So the one thing is management of time. Yep. Fundraising in itself is a job, right? We a team of 3 right now for Boardroom, and each wearing multiple hats every day. And I'm having to take on that CEO role, as well as fundraising, as well as a little bit of marketing, as well as being a bit of the face, of this company on different platforms and channels, and what are people going to be saying on social media, and slack that people give you on social media. Not everyone's happy for you. There's tons of people that are saying not so great things, and then there's tons that are saying great things. So also that stuff, it's having to balance the emotions of the good and the bad, and the struggles of not having enough funding to get from one point to the next. And you know that you can do it, but you're having to pull out of different places. And I think acting in a space of survival, or trying to be productive in a space of survival, is very challenging. And while people might be like, oh, but you have multiple businesses, each of which has its own bank accounts and have to run by itself. So I can't be taking over, and I can't be cross-pollinating. I could in the first one, I could in the second one, but when you get to your third and you're seeing the growth that we're seeing right now with Boardroom, it's very challenging to run it like any other business that I have. It has to be a business that's properly scalable.
The integrity has to be there. What funders are looking for has to be there.
100%.
Boundaries have to be there.
100%. And this is a very scalable business. I mean, the online dating industry is $1 billion industry. And I just think, coming from the African continent, it hasn't been done the way we're doing it. Does not exist. And to be in a very male-dominated industry, and to be a female that is Black in tech from Africa, has put me in amazing rooms. But being in those amazing rooms, what do you do with that? Because it's all well and good. You could be in the parliament room. Are you too scared? Are you gonna say I am enough? And even though it's hard behind the scenes, I deserve to be here.
What's your mindset when you walk in those rooms? What do you tell yourself?
That's another challenge, Initially, I feel like I had imposter syndrome. I'm like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if, like, I'm young and all of these people in the room are much older, and, are they going to respect me? Because then I think back to when I worked in corporate and how I was mocked by the way I was dressed, or, this small little girl coming to speak about what she's doing. And I would get quite down by, I don't know if I can do this. I'd stand outside and I'd be like, okay, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. I play my hill songs. I'm like, okay, God, help me through this. It's going to be okay. And I think the one thing that I stand by is faith. And it's the one thing that's got me through some really difficult times, the noodle eating, no bed times. So it's been hard.
We all have that season.
And I'm very blessed and grateful to not be there. But in order for me to be here today, I need to appreciate those moments, acknowledge them, and know that it's okay. And it's normal to do so.
I know you've just launched Boardroom in the UK. And so I don't assume that that's your biggest close. But if you look back on your businesses and some of the opportunities that you've had, what's a big close moment for you where you were like, oh man, I can't believe I closed this. That was amazing.
So for Lloyd Up, we actually just signed a joint venture with the company in the UK. So that's been like, oh my gosh, 4 years later, like, is this really happening? So that's been quite a big one for me. For Boardroom, as cliche as this is going to sound, I love that we're getting matches. 11,000 matches right now, and success stories of people saying, thank you so much. I'm like, yes.
That's a win. It is a win, because that's what the product is supposed to do.
It is a win. Like, less about the money right now, because we're closing a big, relatively big round now, and it's really exciting. But I think what's more exciting for me is the fact that people are using it and they're finding love and they're saying thank you. So big ups to my incredible team and just us as a collective. Like behind the scenes, it is a lot that we each having to deal with, and coming together and just making it work has been incredible. So yeah, that's been a great win for me.
Love that. Congratulations. And then for Sirisha, the person, the entrepreneur behind this all, what is it about you that allows you to walk into rooms and close? You know, kind of think about it as like your superpower. What is it about you as a person that allows you to close?
So I've been knocking on doors for 4 years, and one of the investors, a couple of them, from when I would speak and pitch and whatever with the first startup, he said, I have to just come and say congratulations for just never giving up. I've never seen someone be rejected and still knock on the door and reject, and you still knock on. I'm like, because we pivoted, we knew every time we pivot, I get to come pitch again because it's a new set of things that we're trying to target. So I think my superpower is definitely being resilient. No matter how hard it gets, I believe that this is on my heart for a reason, and the impact that I want to create is for a reason. So despite every setback and every challenge, I'm not giving up. I will have to change. I will have to have different business partners, if so be, pivot, find new partnerships, but I'm not going to give up on it. Yeah. It doesn't fail till I say it fails, and I'm not going to fail at anything. I'm just going to keep changing.
I love that.
If I need to do so.
And that is entrepreneurship mindset and heart in action. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to pause our conversation there. And I think one of the benefits of having a live conversation is that you get to have audience Q&A. So I want to open up the floor for anybody that has any questions for Sirisha and the work that they're doing at Lawyered Up or Boardroom, or even just about her journey.